celebrations, 2,500 schools were built around Iran. But such acts were overshadowed by the party in Persepolis. As the Shah and his guests looked on the parade, Ayatollah Khomeini sent a message to his supporters.
People should protest against this. They should ask, they should implore other nations not to take part in these nasty celebrations. These are dirty celebrations. Tell the Islamic nations not to take part in them. These are ceremonies that Israeli experts have created. Don't take part in them.
بابا بعد از 2500 سال ما یه دفعه جشن میگیریم. ببینید ممالک دیگه غربی 200 سالشون رو جشن میگیرن، هر سال چه مهمونیایی میدن، یا آمریکا هم 200 سال آزادیش و ایندیپندنس یا هرچی هست جشن میگیره و بعد اون چیزای اساسی اون جشن ها رو در نظر نگرفتن متاسفانه.
Uri Lubrani was the Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia before his posting in Iran. He saw parallels between the Shah and Emperor Haile Selassie, another autocratic, remote monarch.
I felt when I came to Tehran, and after a period of time, I felt that the Shah has lost his touch with the people, his contact with the people. He has become so arrogantly overconfident, believing that he had all the answers, that he knew what Iran needed and should not heed to what the people think or do.
Lubrani had plenty of time to observe the Shah, meeting him on several occasions. The Shah was in awe of Israel's military prowess, particularly impressed by its swift victory during the Six-Day War in 1967.
He really wanted to learn from Israel's experience how Israel succeeded to do it, and he started to purchase every kind of aeroplane that only appear in America. F-14, F-16, F-18 only they spoke about. Before they appear, he bought 200 to be ready with a strong air force to use Israeli systems as a superpower to smash all possible enemies. The main enemies, as you know, used to be Iraq.
The Shah felt that Persian Iran, like Israel, was constantly under threat from its Arab neighbors. An alliance with Israel seemed natural. In particular, the Shah was worried about the most powerful man in Iraq, Vice President Saddam Hussein. Saddam never concealed his dislike for the Shah and for Persians in general. He resurrected border disputes between Iran and Iraq and forced thousands of Iraqis of Iranian origin into exile in the 1970s. At the time, Saddam was also traveling around the world trying to acquire the most sophisticated military equipment, including nuclear technology.
At the time, the Shah made it quite clear that the fact that Iran is threatened by the Arab states, and in particular by Iraq, made it of interest for Iran to establish a relationship with a country which is menaced by the same enemy.
Ironically, it was action by some of those same Arab nations that literally transformed Iran's fortunes. After the Seven-Day War in 1973, Arab oil-producing countries boycotted Israel's Western allies. The price of oil skyrocketed. Iranian oil revenues jumped from $4 billion in 1973 to almost $20 billion a year later. With the wealth came newfound respect from the Shah's Western allies.
The special jet from London brought the Chancellor and Mr. Walker direct to St. Moritz. The two ministers have come here to jet-set Switzerland to see the Shah of Persia about oil for Britain. The Shah's here for a month, and he consented to break his annual winter holiday to see them. Mr. Barber apparently batted first, having half an hour with the Shah, discussing mainly very long-range ideas. He wants to persuade the Shah to reinvest some of his enormous oil profits through the London money markets.
We did cover the whole range of Anglo-Iranian relations, and particularly matters concerning economic relations. And what I think really did impress me was not only his grasp of the matters we were discussing, but also his very high regard for the United Kingdom.
As the money rolled in, the Shah continued to pursue his lifelong ambition of turning Iran into a military superpower. This suited the United States. President Nixon had already adopted his Nixon doctrine of allowing other nations to assume greater responsibilities for their own defense. The security of the Persian Gulf was readily delegated to the Shah.
What is your ambition? To be the fourth largest military power in the world?
Probably the best, non-atomic.
Today, Iran's armed forces possess simply the best military equipment in the world, no matter where it's made. This combined artillery battalion is made up both of 175mm guns from America and 130s from Russia, the ones the North Vietnamese used to such effect. It's a powerful combination.
From where the Shah sat, Iran's impressive economic growth and political stability offered lessons for other countries.
You will have to change, because if you don't change, I don't know what is going to happen to you in the future.
What do you think will happen?
Go back to the caves?
You think that's our fate?
If it continues really in this way, it might take some time, but you are going to go down and down. You can't move up.
Because of our lack of discipline, you think?
Because of your lack of discipline. This is the best word that could be used.
قدرت دفاعی برای ایران لازم بود، ولی پنجمین ارتش جهان این یک پایه، یک زیرساخت، یک پی اقتصادی، صنعتی و فرهنگی میخواد که ایران تا 20 سال بعدش هم نمیتونست پیدا بکنه. اینها رو دیگه متوجه نش. شاه به عمق هیچ موضوعی در زندگیش نرفت، نمیتوانست، اصلا ذهنش توانایی رفتن به عمق نداشت.
As Commander-in-Chief, why is it that you need a fighter bomber force of 300 planes? Why do you need 700 helicopters, 1,700 tanks? Where exactly is the threat that demands a war machine of this size?
Well, I have been asked about the same question in 2 or 3 places. My invariable answer from now on will be it's as if you ask the same question to the British or the French. We are assuming such a position, and even eventually more even than you in Europe, because of the vacuum that there is around us. There is nothing.
The immediate threat was still Iraq. Although Iran and Iraq signed an accord respecting each other's borders in 1975, the Shah never believed Saddam would honor it. He spoke frankly to the Israeli ambassador.
He laughed. He said, this agreement I was referring to is not worth the paper it was signed on. And he felt, the Shah at the time felt, that he has no doubt that when the time came, Iran is going to be attacked by Iraq, and I have to have a strong and modern army.
While the Shah focused on his foreign enemies,